All right, welcome to a special edition of Roundball. We have the CEO, the founder of Slamball, Mason Gordon. How we doing, man?
This is so great. How incredible to be on Barstool, man. Like, Barstool was a big part of Slamball coming back. You guys kept talking about it. Jason Tatum kept talking about it. And it was pretty amazing because when we went out to raise money for Slamball, people were ready for it. And thank you for that.
Of course. I mean, that's what we were before you got on. We were talking about. It's like when it was first on, when we both were saying we grew up watching it, right? Like it was like, oh, that's what those fucking bastards are crazy out there on trampolines, dunking the ball and shit. And but like now, social media is so prominent, which is only could help Slamball because when some people see it on Twitter or Instagram, they're like, "What the hell is that?" Even if they don't know Slamball, has that helped you a ton since you've been back?
Yeah, what's crazy is that about 3 or 4 years ago, interestingly enough, while I was over in China taking Slamball around and building facilities and doing 15,000 seat venues, it's almost like the butterfly effect, right? Somewhere on the other side of the world, the energy started like moving around, and people started posting 20-year-old highlights. And that stuff would go viral every single week. And it was millions and millions of views. It wasn't like 250,000 views. It was like 8.5 million views, 12 million views, over and over and over again. So that really told me, as well as my partner, Mike Tolan, who you guys know from like making The Last Dance and The Captain and Redeem Team and like some of the greatest sports movies and documentaries ever, that it told us that now was the right time to bring it back. So based on the early returns, we might have nailed it.
What was like your shifting like business wise? What was it like trying to bring it back? And obviously you had some investors come in and help you out a little bit, but like looking back at what you did back in when we were watching it growing up, is there stuff you wanted to like continue to go about that league how it was back then, or was it just kind of just going with the flow and how everything was?
Yeah, for sure. What's interesting is that when we were on cable television 20 years ago, millions and millions of people like sought this thing out late at night. And we like to say, like, we pressed a button in hearts and minds that never really got unpressed. And, all this time, what was fascinating about those millions and millions of fans is that they engaged with Slamball as a real sport, which it was, and a real league, which it wasn't. It was a TV show. We would get all the teams together and we would play games, and then we release the games 3 months later. Well, that's no way to build a sport. If you want to build a legitimate sport, it's got to be live, it's got to be engageable and bettable. So that was our vision since the very beginning. And when we went out to find partners for the relaunch, it's funny because everything I was saying was suddenly like, oh yeah, that's brilliant. Oh yeah, that's perfect. And, I was like, I've been saying the same thing for a long time. So it's kind of like the ground moved underneath our feet. And I think part of it is that those trampoline centers got really popular. So like everybody's been to those, everybody's bounced on these trampolines at like 6-year-old birthday parties, right? And so everybody could kind of relate to what they were seeing in those highlight clips. And that's the only explanation for me as to why 20-year-old sports highlights would go viral, almost every time they got posted. It's because young people are like looking out for sports to call their own, and Slamball checks a lot of those boxes.
Was it hard? Like, what's like the thought process on like getting players to play? Like, is there tryouts? Like, if me and Jordan just came down and started fucking slamming it down and laying people out.
Well,
like,
Marty, you're not athletic enough to play.
I would dominate Slamball. I'd fucking knee you in the back and slam it over your head.
You take one jump and your Achilles.
I believe it. No, I believe both of you actually. Like, what's so cool about it is that we reached out to all these high-level basketball and football prospects, and they'd either played high-level basketball in college, football in college, playing pro overseas. And it was like, we thought we'd have to have this whole pitch, right? There was this thing, it was on cable TV 20 years ago, started on a court made out of spare parts. And it was like, hey, stop talking. I've been trying to play Slamball for the last 5-6 years because it stays in my social media feed. So that's the thing, is like somewhere along the way, Slamball became this like mythical thing that captured the heart of the internet. And I think everybody on this show knows just how powerful that is. So not only were we able to get investors and an all-star group of investors like Michael Rubin and David Blitzer and Gary Vaynerchuk and Blake Griffin and Roger Ehrenberg, but we were also able to go out to sports partners, like broadcast partners. And we thought like, hey man, Slamball's cool. Somebody's going to give this thing a shot, right? But what we didn't expect is that every single sports channel offered us a deal, and we were able to pick our partner. And we decided to go with ESPN.
Yeah, I feel like it's not a bad partner to put sports on.
Yeah.
That's crazy though, that everyone like. Were you a little surprised, like, because it hasn't been around for a while, and obviously this is your baby? And before you answer that question, did you actually write this on a napkin and figure out how to do it?
Yeah, it's funny because I started off. I was really inspired by the UFC, right? If UFC could take Taekwondo and wrestling and boxing and jiu-jitsu and mix them all together, I was like, well, I play team sports. So could I take the best elements of basketball, football, hockey, mix them all together? And then the other thing was I played video games. So I used to play NBA Jam and NFL Blitz. And those were like these two over the top, like the dunks were bigger, the hits were bigger. And I was always like, could you make that in real life with real athletes? So that was kind of the formula that I was following. I went into a little warehouse, I built a court out of spare parts, and we were able to get a television deal right there in the warehouse.
That's ridiculous. That really is just like.
And real talk, like the whole experience doing this, at some along the way, I was like trying to make a sport, and at some point it just became mental illness. So there's just this thing where it's like, thankfully, or maybe not thankfully, but I'm just the most stubborn person in the world. Maybe one of you guys are more stubborn than I am, but I'm just so stubborn that I just keep at it and keep at it and keep at it. And lo and behold, hopefully we got somewhere good here.
Well, Mason, for you to invent sport like Slamball, that's as crazy as it is, you kind of have to be a little bit crazy yourself if you're going to create that sport.
Jordan, the crazy thing is that I played Slamball and I got hit more than anybody. Like, close your eyes, picture your boss right now, and picture how great it would feel to like pancake him into the glass. That was happening to me 10 times a game. So my career highlight reel as a Slamball player has like 2 cool things in it, followed by about 7 minutes of me just getting laid out by bigger, stronger people.
I do feel like when you watch a highlight or something on Twitter or TikTok, whatever, people are like, oh, they're dunking, it's all on trampoline. Yeah. I feel like it's like 10 times harder than it actually looks.
Marty, it's so hard, man. Yeah. It's like, imagine being able to control your body. Like, let's say you're Vince Carter, you're jumping like 40 inches off the ground, right? Now be 140 inches off the ground and have to control your body, transition from the tramps back to the hardwood where people are trying to take your head off. Some linebacker from Nebraska is trying to take your head off. And now you got to execute a stack cut in order to catch the lob over the transom so that you can take on a 6'7", 260-pound defender who's basically a hockey goalie, waist high at the rim, and you're going to smack into him. I mean, it's really unbelievable. And the coolest thing is that Slamball is basketball and was where basketball and football cultures collide. Half of our guys are from basketball backgrounds, half of our guys are from football backgrounds. So anybody who's on some like, oh, this is just basketball and trampolines, bro, let me tell you, this is like This is like a blending of basketball and football skills in a really, really magical way. Where else are you going to find a defensive back matching up against a point guard, matching up against a power forward, matching up against a linebacker? Like, that's Slamball in a nutshell.
So Marty, what he's saying is you would not be able to play in it.
Bro, all right. I'm literally gonna Mason. I'm coming to Vegas one day, and I'm doing this.
Hey, come for the playoffs. Come for the playoffs. I will get you in a Slamball kit, and I'll get you in a practice, and you tell me if you want to play in the games.
Wow, that Jordan. I think we gotta take Mason up
Let's
on
go.
it, because that you want to see something go viral. Me fucking getting smoked on a trampoline will not be good for myself, but it'll be
I'm
good
going
for you.
right for your knees.
Yeah.
Right for your knees.
It'd be good for Sports Center, though.
It would. It would. So how's the season going so far? Like, since you rebooted, like, has it exceeded expectations?
Yeah, it's kind of blown away expectations. We really worked really hard to set up a great infrastructure for the athletes, the like most highly engineered Slamball court of all time, the best coaches. Like, we don't have a bunch of like celebrities like pretending to coach. You know what I mean? Like, these are the best Slamball players ever coaching. These are the OG coaches coaching. So it's like there's an internal logic to Slamball that I think fans really appreciate. And I think people really just accept it as a legitimately organic sport that's got its own narrative. And the thing that trips me out, Jordan, is that we've got legitimate stars like stepping up. You know, we're not looking to, you know, get somebody out of the G League and try to market him inauthentically as like the Michael Jordan of Slamball. Like, we're looking for unique Slamball stars, our Conor McGregor, our Nate Diaz, our John Jones. And we've got a bunch of those guys. We got this cat, Gage Smith out of Concordia, who's 6'6", 230. And he is an absolute madman. Like, he is the ultimate barstool athlete. Like, you guys should have a fan account dedicated to this cat. And then this other dude, Tony Crosby, 5'6", with a 52-inch max vertical off the hardwood in Slamball. He's a freaking alien, and he's flying all over the place, dunking on 6'7", 6'8", 6'9" guys, and it's really something to watch. We've had Mahomes tweet about Slamball. We've had Pat McAfee tweet about Slamball. Alex Caruso for everybody who loves the deep cut cats in the NBA. Like, Alex Caruso is it for League Pass, right? He's like the kind of guy you tune in for that kind of stuff. So it's like real talk. Like, people are into it.
I think it's smart what you said, because like, you can pay a celebrity to be a coach and like they'll half-ass, they don't really care. But like, the fact that you're actually implementing a real, like, people want to tune in and be like, oh, this team is my team. Like, and that's what Jordan and I are doing today, by the way. We're going to become a fan of a team, and I'm following the shit out of them.
What
team should we go for?
Nonstop.
I love that you asked. The Mob is 8-0 already out of the gates, and their stopper, Gage Smith, is absolutely a monster. They call this guy the Blocksmith, and he's averaging 10 blocks a game. He's absolutely just beating everything up that comes his way, and his team is just monstrous. And I love that we did this show today, because just last night we had this cat named Cam Hollins, who's this track and field dude, and Cam Hollins got the hit of the year so far. He was going into tramps, and somebody just exploded him, and he did like a boomerang in the air before landing, and then he lined up for the face-off, and he kind of had a chip on his shoulder. Like, the face-off's the penalty shot in Slamball where you get to go against the guy who hits you. So he kind of lined up against him, threw a 360 through the legs, and dunked all over him. And it was maybe the coolest thing I've seen in Slamball yet, at least in the reboot.
Listen, I'm a Duke and a Yankee fan, so I like rooting for the best team. So I'll go for the
Mason, when you said there ain't no, I already knew Marty's eyes lit up. He's hard over there. He's literally
a front runner. Front runner. I only care when we're up on the competition. Well, the Mob plays the Buzzsaw on Thursday night on ESPN2, and that's like the top two teams right now. So everybody's kind of excited about that matchup.
I'm first of all the listeners, all of us, me and Jordan will be watching that 100%. You've got me hooked because you're right. It's just like, why can't we just have every sport in one?
Right.
Why can't we just
Let's make it easy
for myself? I don't have to watch anything else.
Hey, I got a better pitch for you than that. How about like basketball and football fans want action every single day? They don't want to. They don't want to sit around. Almost cursed on your show. Sorry.
You can curse.
You can do whatever you
You
want.
can say whatever the fuck you want.
Well, like basketball and football fans don't want this giant desert in the middle of their calendar, and everybody knows it, and nobody does anything about it. Slamball is where basketball and football cultures collide, and it's the most fun sport you can follow during the off season. And if we're pulling from basketball and football fans in equal measure, you don't have to squint that much to see the opportunity for scale here.
Yeah, that's also true because these are like, it's baseball and then there's nothing else, and like there's no one like new watching baseball. It's just you like baseball, you don't. So
That's
you can
right.
get so many people, especially the gambling aspect, because obviously I love gambling, and that's so big in the summer because you're like, what the fuck am I going to watch right now? And that's what you're going to watch on Thursday is
Yep.
Slamball.
And we got lines. We got
Yep.
lines on our games. Like, it's incredible. Like, that we might be the fastest team sport to market in terms of like real money betting. I think we set a record because everybody was online talking about this. Fans were talking about it, but wagerers were talking about it, and the sports books were talking about it. So it all just happened so quickly, and we went live like 2 nights ago in Arizona, Tennessee, and we're about to go live in Nevada. So that's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
I mean, be live over in Iowa. We need a little something to bet on. During
We're going, man. We're going as fast as we can. Give us
the Iowans. They love their sports betting. I'll tell you that right now.
That's what's up. Well, I mean, what's really cool about as we look forward is that ever since we announced the ESPN deal, we were already in training camp, and we have our guys for this summer, and we were like really excited about them. But now it's like people are hitting us up, and we're like, I played football at the University of Alabama. I have 2 national championships, and I want to play Slamball. So it's like those are the guys that are like kind of pipelining into the sport. So our expectation is that 2 to 3 years down the road, like Slamball could be it, man. We could be the UFC of team sports.
That's what I was going to say. Like, there's going to be some guys that fizzle out of the NFL that like made it, like they could have a good year and then they kind of slow it down. They're like, fuck it, I'll just play some Slamball. Like, you guys can get some real good athletes in there. You already do. I've seen some of the games.
Yeah.
But like, it could just keep growing. That's cool though, that people like hitting you guys up now. You're going after people now. They're just coming right to you.
Yeah, well, we made the tryouts invite only because we don't have a big enough team to like process 5,000 people, because that's how people would try out, and most people would be drunk like at the tryouts, right? So
yeah, they would.
legit. So my whole thing was like, you know, let's make a big splash this summer, and then next summer it's like we're playing for the next 30-40 years of Slamball. So that's what we think we're doing. And the craziest thing is, like, if you love sports, right, you love kind of the purity of sports, but you don't see a lot of it because all you do is see people with $100 million contracts like being salty and mad because they don't have something that somebody else on their team has or something like that. Yeah. But we really have something great going on with Slamball right now, and everybody in our program is totally bought in and is doing it for the love of the game, and everybody's paid, and it's professional as hell. But you don't often see so many people like loving what they're doing so much in sports. So I think this is really like the summer sport, the signature summer sport that's on offer right now.
Listen, you've sold us.
I love it.
I'm gonna be watching Thursday, and I'm telling you, we're gonna have to do a video and put it on Barstool as well, just like the ins and outs of Slamball, and really show what it's about, because it's cool as shit.
Thank you. I mean, look, even like reacting to like our top 10 plays from last night, like I think that would go crazy on your platform, because people know about it and they know it's out there, and it's really the story is really building. And I think by the playoffs, this thing is just going to be a madhouse.
So what's the timetable right now for the rest of the league?
August.
Break it down real quick.
Yeah, we've got Thursday night on ESPN2. We've got additional games on Friday, Saturday, Sunday on ESPN Plus. That happens again on August 10th, and then the playoffs on August 15th and August 17th on ESPN's main channel. So really excited about that. And our relaunch on ESPN went exceptionally well, and people were really geeked about it. And we had so many, celebrities and huge sports stars like talking about it and reaching out to us. And the craziest thing is that all these like crazy owners are reaching out about territorial rights for Slamball. And I didn't really think that would happen. I thought this would be like FaZe Clan, or like the teams would be like FaZe and Liquid, and they just be sort of disconnected IP. But there are people that are like, I want the Tennessee rights, or I want the Indiana rights, or I want the Chicago rights. And that kind of surprised me by how many people are coming into this thing and really just seeing it as a really established sport.
So basically, you were just ahead of your time back in the day.
You know what? People keep saying that. People keep saying that. I don't know what that means. Like, but I can say that I thought this thing like really had legs back in the day, and we really stuck through a lot of ups and downs with it. And now we're in this place where a lot of people think it's really cool. So maybe there's something to it.
That's awesome. Well, Mason, thank you for coming on, man. That was awesome. I'm a Mob fan for life now.
Me too.
That was easy.
That was easy. I'm gonna be the #1 fan of the Mob. I really appreciate you coming on, though. It was awesome. And everyone, go watch Slamball on Thursday, ESPN2. And if you have anything else, we'll have you back on after the playoffs. I don't even care. We need to break it all down.
Hey, if you watch the game and you're loving the Mob, have Gage Smith on your show.
Okay.
He's more interesting than I am.
I 100% would. So I appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon, all right?
Thanks, guys.
See ya.